Hey guys, Ricky Widmer here from Most Valuable Podcast. You're about to listen to a little bit of our primetime podcast that we recorded this week. Make sure to go to BlogTalkRadio /Most Valuable Podcast for our full-length podcast that you can go ahead and download. I hope you enjoy it. I know me and Brandon did recording it. And the reason why I say let's cut it off is we got another topic to talk about. We got another topic to talk about, and we are well over an hour. And I'm going to say, you guys are getting your money's worth. Thank you, Grace and Allen, for giving you your money's worth here on the Primetime Podcast, because this is possibly, to me, the most interesting topic of the podcast, and that's because Sam Darnold, what a season this kid has had with the USC Trojans and the Rose Bowl. What a fucking game, Brandon. The best bowl game that we've seen. Like, the one thing that I wish that it was Alabama-Washington and then USC-Penn State were our semifinal games. Could you imagine if the 52-49 game was a semifinal game? It could have been. Could have been if A, Penn State would have been respected, and B, Sam Darnold would have been the starter week one. But Brandon, I'm going to ask you plain and simple. That's the title of the topic here on YouTube. How special can Sam Darnold be in the future for the USC Trojans?
Can you say uber special? I mean, this guy clearly showed that he is possibly going to be one of the great USC quarterbacks. And it's not just because he threw for 5 touchdowns and contributed 473 yards of total offense and records in the Rose Bowl. It's not just because he's a freshman. It's not just because he led them to a Rose Bowl win, 52-49. It's because he did it all with such poise, Ricky. A poised freshman putting up those numbers, leading his team to a win when they were down 42-27 at one point. The game was nowhere near over, but you're down 42-27. You could have had a quarterback that just that worried, that was frantic, that, he put too much pressure on himself. No. He was cool, calm, collected, and the word, Ricky, poised.
And I'm looking at it right now. I mean, the play of the game for Darnold it was when Penn State was up 7, and Darnold stepping up in the pocket, just slinging it over the middle to his receiver for the touchdown. And the thing in this one that got me thinking was after I watched that play, and I believe it was Kurt Herbstreit who mentioned it, that's the kind of throw that you see the NFL guys make. That's the throws that you see the big boys make, the ones that eventually do go on to play for the league, play for the No Fun League. But I am utterly shocked I knew this season that all Sam Darnold was good, but that Rose Bowl game was like, it basically put him on a pedestal. And the one thing that I wish I would have known before was I was listening to Colin Cowherd on Tuesday, and he mentioned how he was like, you know what, I don't like I love talking about recruiting, but he's like, I don't talk about recruiting because you guys don't want to hear it. But the one thing he mentioned was when he was at USC camp, when Sarkisian was still there, he asked Sark, who should I be looking out for today? Like, who should I watch? And Sarkisian goes, make sure to check out that Darnold kid. And the comparison that Sark made was the comparison that he made for Darnold was Andrew Luck. Like, this kid, he's like, this kid could be as good as Andrew Luck. And if he lives up to that, this kid's going to be a first-round draft pick. Not just a first-round draft pick. This kid could be a number 1 overall pick and bring USC back to the glory days. He could resurrect the USC Trojans all by himself.
I think that's not too far. You're not going too far when you say that. Because, take a look at what Darnold did when he got the opportunity. A 9-game winning streak that he was a part of. And he went through his first 4. conference opponents, 16 scores to 2 interceptions. And that's when all of a sudden people were looking back at USC going, oh, here they come. Here they come. And they were not doing it with Max Brown. Max Brown, the guy that, Ricky, we had a whole segment on.
Was in the coming out party.
We look like we need to go back into the closet, come out with something new. But he was absolutely not the right guy, Max Brown. Not the right guy. And, unfortunate for him because he had, been behind Cody Kessler for a number of years and now he's, again, behind somebody else. But I think Darnold is clearly the right guy. And again, I mean, just the way that he led his teams to victories and just the way that it seemed like guys really had so much more energy with him out on the field. That's the thing, is that he made the team better. He made the team better. He was the Peyton Manning, the Tom Brady. Sean will love that. The Tom Brady to this team because he made them all better. He gave them more energy. He just woke them up. A USC team that after that Alabama game, honestly, after their first couple of games to start the season, they were still asleep. They had not awoken. They had not really kicked it into gear. But you turned it over. They turned it over. Helton turned it over to Darnold, and boom. They were awake, they were alive, they were kicking, they were breathing, they were winning.
Well, and the one thing I'm looking back at is I got to correct ourselves because, Brandon, I probably shouldn't say this because it's going to make us look bad, but not only did we talk 1 week about Max Brown, here's how we had it. We talked August 24th was when the video came out on YouTube. We had a segment called, Is Max Brown the quarterback to bring USC back to the top? And then the next week, USC Alabama Max Brown's coming out party. So that was 2 consecutive weeks that we blew smoke up Max Brown's butt.
I mean, so we're idiots. I mean, that's okay. That's okay.
But the good thing is the Trojans now have a quarterback. And the one thing that I completely forgot about is if you're sitting there going, well, Ricky, like, how good, if you're asking yourself, how good is this kid? How good is this quarterback? You got to remember that originally this Trojan team had brought in a 5-star recruit in Ricky Town to be the guy. And it was that same camp that Cowherd was at, where basically Ricky Town watched Darnold play and basically said, fuck it, I can't win the starting job, and transferred. And now he's at Arkansas. Basically said, watched him in camp, said, I cannot compete with him. Enrolled to USC, picked USC over Alabama, and then after camp said, I can't do it, and transferred to the Arkansas Razorbacks. Like, that's how good Darnold is, where he forced a 5-star recruit out of town because that kid even knew, I can't compete with this guy for the starting job.
Yeah.
Could you imagine what USC would have been like if they would have just said, you know what, Max Brown, we don't care if you transfer. We do not care that you transfer. We are starting Sam Darnold. They would have been a playoff team. In my mind, they would have been a playoff team because this is how I think it would have went down. I think they would have lost to Alabama. I think you can give them the Utah loss too because Darnold did start that game. However, I don't want to give them that loss because that would have been Darnold's 4th start instead of his first start. I think what happens is they lose that Alabama game closer than they did. They maybe beat Stanford and Utah, playoff team at 1 loss, and also play for the Pac-12 title instead of Washington, and we get the Trojans instead of the Huskies.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's crazy how things play out.
You have to look at that. And I know Sean Anderson was here before we started recording tonight, and he even said, well, Darnold started that Utah game, so really it's like he lost it. Yeah, but that was his first start. That was a freshman's first start. Could you imagine what it would have been like if that was his fourth start and his first start would have been against Alabama? They might have still gotten blown out against Alabama, because now that I think about a true freshman going up against Alabama on that big stage, not a chance. But then he would have had Utah State and Stanford to kind of work with to get ready for the Utah game. I think this USC team could have been a playoff team if they started Sam Darnold. And I'll go ahead and say it now. They're going to be one of my favorites next year to make the college football playoff. They are. Because of Sam Darnold alone, because they have the most important position locked up.
I think that you definitely could be right, and so could Colin Cowherd, the guy that you're channeling through yourself.
Oh, not that last part. Just the part with the Ricky Town part is what I got from Cowherd.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have that knowledge. I wasn't at USC's camp.
Well, that's why I said you're channeling Colin Cowherd. You're trying to channel him through yourself.
That last part where I said they're going to be a favorite in my mind, that's me.
Was that all original?
That's me. That's my part. But really,
good for you.
Really, USC fans are going, well, duh, shithead. No doubt they're going to be a favorite for the playoff, because right now USC fans are a little cocky because they won the Rose Bowl and they got something to look forward to. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
Well, as they should be.
They should be.
As
I'm
they
not
should be. Yeah, you should be
thing.
cocky as hell. Yes.
Not as cocky as Alabama, because Alabama's still the king.
Well, duh. But I think that what you have for USC now is something that you've been looking for a while. How long has USC been trying to find a quarterback? Since Matt Leinart, right?
Don't you hate Matt Leinart?
He's an idiot.
Okay,
he's terrible.
I thought it was him, but even him, Carson Palmer, and Mark Sanchez. I almost said Matt Sanchez. Mark Sanchez were the last three great USC quarterbacks. I mean, Cody Kessler was good. Matt Barkley was pretty good, but they weren't great.
But that's what I'm saying is that it's been a while. It's been a while since USC has been even to what I was going to say, the whatchamacallit, the playoffs. What do they do? What do they do at the end of the season? They go to the playoffs. So it's been a while since USC has been able to sniff out a playoff appearance. Who's going to be the quarterback to do it? And right now, we're really, really excited about Sam Darnold. Mm-hmm. And you know what? We should be. USC should be, because when you have a performance, not just like you did in the Rose Bowl, but when you're able to back that up with everything, it's not like he just came to the Rose Bowl and, wow, he got really lucky. No. Look at his resume before that in the season. When they gave him the reins, he did a lot with it. He did very, very well. And now it all added up. It all came together, and it was his performance in the Rose Bowl. And I think that USC should be very, very excited. I think the rest of the Pac-12 should be very, very nervous because it's USC. This past year, I didn't have any hope for USC. I didn't think that they were going to be all that great. And now this next year,
it's funny what happens in a year.
I am very excited for this USC team because I'm looking at them right now after what I saw as the favorite in the Pac-12 for next season.
It's funny how much things change in 1 year, but Sam Darnold, something special, and USC, you guys should be happy because you guys are going to be playoff contenders, I'm going to say, next year, and definitely in Sam Darnold's junior season. But this is where you guys tell us down below what you guys think, not just about the USC thing, but about everything, about anything we talked about today on the podcast. If you're listening on YouTube, make sure to check out all our other segments. You can get all of them on BlogTalkRadio /the Primetime Podcast and download the entire podcast for anywhere. You can listen to it anywhere at that point and don't even need the internet for that. But I want to thank you guys for checking out the Primetime Podcast today. Don't forget to hit me and Brandon up on Twitter and follow us there, young_swan19 and at Ricky Widmer. I want to thank you one last time for checking out this podcast. And as always, have a good day, everybody. Well, thank you guys for checking out this video from the Primetime Podcast. If you want to check out more, click right over here. The video's right over here. Check it out. Check it out.